Alright, you man, I'm recording this at 1 a.m. and I came back from work, but the first day of March 2025 came to an end, and obviously, new month, new 35 pokes meta game. To be fair, I didn't play in February because honestly, February was a pretty shit meta game, but that's neither here or there. But we got a new meta game, we're gonna be talking about it quickly. It's gonna be a pretty quick one because, again, it's day one. There's not gonna be any like super analysis that I can really get into, but I will be letting you guys know what some of the top Pokemon are so far, like Pokemon that I'm just like, you definitely need to watch out for this. Defensive Pokemon that are also good as well. But either way, if you guys do enjoy this video and want to see some more competitive Pokemon content, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. On our way to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2025, and I want to thank you guys for the support recently. But either way, let's get into it. So, looking at the Pokemon that we rolled for this month of March 2025, it's a pretty fun meta game. We got some of the lads. Scolopede's pretty much like one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Kingler's my favorite water type. I even got like a freaking plushie from Pokemon Center for Kingler, so that's my guy. So I'm very happy about it. Some other lower tier threats that I enjoyed, like Aggron, Kabutops. I was gonna say Luxray, but Luxray is not that guy. So you're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy. But yeah, even on Pheasant's my favorite regional bird. It's probably the worst one, but like, it has some potential here, which is actually surprising me. But yeah. So either way, let's go over the Pokemon that I think are actually somewhat relevant in the metagame at this current moment in time. Pokemon that you definitely have to watch out for. So these two Pokemon I'm going to group together because they share a typing with one another, and that is Lucario and Medicham. So these guys are very powerful. As you can see, Lucario's stats are quite good even to this day. Obviously, Power Creep has hit that mon like a truck. But, these are quite strong offensive stats into a format that most of the time has lower power level Pokemon. And Lucario and Medicham are, hitting, the ball in terms of, power level. And, like, the fact that they're pretty much jumping everyone. It's like having freaking, like, college students going up against secondary school kids. Like, it's very disadvantageous, obviously. So yeah, so obviously here Medicham's set at the moment. It can do quite a lot of things. To be fair, you could go Choice Scarf, could go Choice Band, Life Orb, but it's just there attacking and doing a lot of damage. Now, I recently faced Choice Band in a recent game that I just played against Shifty, and I'm like, yeah, this thing is quite difficult to switch into, I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. But yeah, Choice Band, people said is overkill, but at the same time, what is realistically switching in? Like, let's look at this list of mons again, and hopefully my OBS is not cutting out anything. But yeah, let's look at this list of mons quickly. What is switching into a banded Medicham if you click correctly? As you can see, there's only two dark types, and obviously dark types are weak to fighting, so they have no business switching in. And then in terms of psychic resist, Aggron is getting OHKO'd by fighting moves. This is also getting deleted. This is also not taking CC well whatsoever. And then what else is a psychic resist? Like, again, like, those are the only psychic resists, and they're getting blown up anyway. So at this point, like, yeah, Medicham is a menace. Like, that's what I have to say. This one is very, very threatening. Luke, on the other hand, Luke is definitely more consistent because it's faster and it has priority and it has a better defensive typing. That's why Lucario is more consistent, and it also has better setup options. Like Medicham is probably not the one you're going to be setting up with. It doesn't even need setup. It does have bulk up, obviously. He's a fighting type, but it doesn't even need that. Luke just gets SD and then manages to go extreme speed, has close combat. And then the last move has been pretty controversial. Well, not really controversial, but more like, obviously you have Meteor Mash, you could go double stabs plus E-speed, but a lot of people are like considering Crunch to hit Guy Small, or and Drifblim as well, Stone Edge to hit Mantine, even though Mantine's 2-hit killed by Life Orb CC at +2, but people want to hit anything. But the set I was most recently running is dropping E-speed, running Bullet Punch, so at least you have that Steel Stab, and then you have Crunch as well to hit Guy Small and Drifblim, which are quite relevant defensive threats in the tier at the moment, because Guy Small is obviously the best, one of the best Medicham answers. To be fair, this is not a mon that you're using individually in order to check these two. It will fold to setup or choice band. So you have to pair it with a lot of Intimidate Pokemon, and Intimidate is also another big thing because you have 4 Intimidate Pokemon in this tier, and they're all quite bulky defensively, so obviously Intimidate will really improve their physical bulk. Let us begin with Gramble and Weirday. I will speak about Qwilfish, I'll speak about Qwilfish quickly right now because it's okay. It actually does handle Luke quite well unless it runs EQ, and that's the issue with Luke. You never really know what that last move is going to be. You just know it's going to be close combat plus SD, potentially E-speed because you want to keep that priority, but you know, Qwilfish is a pretty good Lucario check if it's not running Earthquake. But, you know, obviously it being weak to Psychic means Medicham is a very scary Pokemon for it. But yeah, Gramble plus Weirday, these guys are definitely one of the some of the best physical walls in the tier. And you're probably wondering, damn, you're relying on a mon with mons that don't even break 80 base defense. I know. But Intimidate really does make up for it. And this is 35 pokes. We're not expecting OU level threats on a consistent basis, innit? This is what we get is what we get, and we appreciate what we get because we are grateful people to the RNG gods. But yeah, Gramble, what does Gramble basically do? If you've never actually used a Gramble at any lower tier because you don't play lower tiers, behold Gramble's great move pool of Heal Bell, which is going to be good for, you know, getting rid of paralysis spam and toxic spam. It also has T-Wave of its own, so it can do that. And then in terms of the last slot, I was running Earthquake, so you can actually target. You can pretty much Oko Lucario. You're not taking special hits particularly well, let's be honest, but if you're at full HP and you do need your Gramble to take a hit from Raichu, you obviously live T-Bolt, and then you EQ back an Oko. So yeah, this is typically the Gramble set. It's not really doing anything else. You're realistically using this to check some of the toughest, you know, physical attackers that the tier has to offer. If we look at it, Gourgeist Small, Kingler, what do you call it, Cloth, Gabite, Linoon, Unpheasant to a certain extent, Kabutops, and obviously if you pair it with Gourgeist, you're gonna be handling a lot more types because Mono Fairy's fine, but Fairy's defensive profile isn't too relevant outside of a Dark and Fight. Well, to be fair, Dark and Fighting is actually quite relevant, but you know, Gourgeist helps with a fighting immunity, gets a water resist as well. Gourgeist also resists grass and ground, which is quite useful as well. Weirday, on the other hand, this is more of a wing con sort of Pokemon. Obviously you can go defensive as well. It evolves from you know, pre-Gen 8 Mon, so you're going to get access to Toxic and some other pretty cool moves. But in terms of Weirday, you use Intimidate more for your avenue of setting up, for example. So you do have the Agility, Calm Mind, Stored Power, and Thunderbolt set. And well, you don't actually run Thunderbolt, you run Earth Power because you don't need it. Because if you are going Agility, you are just going to be relying on Stored Power, Base Power more than actually going T-Bolt. T-Bolt is realistically just for Mantine, which I would run T-Bolt if I'm not going Agility, for example. Because with Agility, you actually do need to run some speed investment. But in terms of the sets where you're not running Agility, I was running 44, I think it was 44, 212, 252 with Bold Nature. This outspeeds Mantine, and then obviously plus one T-Bolt is going to nuke that shit. So if it's not Spadef, I think it actually just dies. But no one's running Fizdef Mantine because it doesn't actually check anything that well. Spadef handles mons like Charizard, Jinx, if it's not Nasty Plot, Psyshock, and Special Lucario if you want to run that, but Special Lucario is actually kind of ass. So yeah, in terms of these 5, these are some of the 5 Pokemon I've been spamming the most. In terms of other threats that people have been spamming as well, there's Drifblim, which is another ghost type in the metagame. I do prefer Gourgeist, but Drifblim does have some stuff going for it. Even though Gourgeist has a much higher defense stat. Drifblim's HP stat is so high, it's still respectively bulky as well. If you go max defense, it's going to be taking, it can actually handle Lucario quite well because you just strength sap, but you wisp into strength sap and you actually just beat it 1v1 always. And then you have moves like Will-O-Wisp Hex, has air slash too, but I haven't really seen any air slash. And then you just go strength sap, heavy duty boots. Could go on burden as well with like setup with citrus calm mind, but is more leaning into defensive utility sort of sets rather than like wing cons. But I do believe a wing con Drifblim actually can cook, because calm mind, shadow ball, T-bolt actually like gets everything. I'll be honest, like shadow ball is like ghost is one of the best offensive typings. T-bolt gets the best special wall in the tier, and also just handles like it hits the 2 dark types. Well, Morpeko's not bulky, but like Feeble like won't like taking that Eva and won't even Oko Drifblim after a boost. But yeah, Drifblim is definitely a scary Pokemon. Always is in these lower level formats. Another Pokemon, Kingler. Kingler just does Kingler things. I have to speak about Kingler. Just agility, 3 attacks. I think it was knockoff, and then I mean, if you want to run Ice Beam to actually nuke Gourgeist, it kind of brings me back to the SMPU days when Kingler was actually legal before we banned that shit. Or did we ban it or did it move up to NU? I actually don't remember. I think we banned Kingler back then. It's actually been like 7 years since Gen 7. It's actually crazy. But yeah, Kingler just does this. It is quite threatening as well. But yeah, I'll be speaking about all of these, like every single mon at this rate if I'm not careful. So let me go over the mons that are actually not that good. That you might not be expecting. But yeah, some of the mons that I think are going to be complete doo-doo. Well, to be fair, this is a metagame where everything does have a niche on paper, but just because everything has a niche doesn't mean everything's good. So yeah, Swallow, I don't think Swallow will be that crazy. I'll give Unfezant the benefit of the doubt. Choice Band, Brave Bird, like if you're not running a flying resist, like fair enough, you have like how many rock types in the metagame, but like Pheasant just has, it can just U-turn out on them and then pressure a lot of the other offensive Pokemon in the metagame as well. Like you're faster than Luke, faster than Gourgeist. Well, no, you're not faster than Gourgeist. if you're running like offensive Gourgeist, Pheasant actually does wall you, but like you also have Rock Slide as well, so you have to be careful about that. But yeah, Pheasant just being faster than Luke, Medicham, Feeble, and everything else, like I said everything else. There's really only 35 monsters to really worry about. But yeah, just being faster than those two is probably the biggest thing Unfezant has going for it in terms of its offensive sets. So yeah, like Choice Band or Focus Energy, Scope Lens, Super Luck, like. But again, this is like one of the lower level Pokemons. People are hyping up Luxray, and I'm like, it's another Intimidate mon, but it's like the worst bulky Intimidate mon in the metagame. Because Weird is bulkier, has a better typing, isn't ground weak, and so on. But yeah, I don't think Luxray will be that crazy. And then like the last Pokemon where I'm just like, yeah, you're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy. Ariados and Magcargo, like these guys, Ariados at least gets Sticky Web, so it's never gonna really be that irrelevant. Unfortunately, even though Ariados is like one of the worst mons of all time. And then Magcargo is just a sad case, to be honest, because like its typing is just horrendous. You have 6 weaknesses. Fighting, ground, water are not helping you in this economy, in this metagame. And then like everything is just running at ground coverage. So it's just tough to justify using Magcargo. The only way I would actually legitimately try and use this mon is like if there's sun and I get up a Shell Smash and activate Weak Armor somehow. That's the only way I'm going to sweep with this Pokemon. Otherwise, is a waste of my time. But yeah, just gave you a quick insight into some of these mons. I actually do want to try and do some laddering session for 35. I feel like I've never been able to actually do a laddering session for 35, but it's actually a lot easier to get a laddering session for 35 than freaking Chaos OU, which is the annoying thing, because I want to do Chaos OU so badly. But yeah, that will be it for today's video. You're going to be seeing more 35 Pokes content this month, because March is actually a pretty funny meta game, a lot better than February. So, you know, I'm not going to be ducking this time. But yeah, thanks for watching, you guys. See you guys in the next one. Peace.